If you're like me, you're strapped for time the majority of your evenings. Many of us work full time and we have families, and so it can be a struggle to put a healthy home cooked keto meal on the table. Don't worry, because I'm going to share with you guys 3 easy keto dinner recipes that can be made in under 30 minutes. Now, all the recipes I'm going to share with you today can all be made in under 30 minutes, but some of them you can prep up ahead of time. So if you're one of those meal prep types, then you can prep up all of these on Sunday, and I'll show you how you can eat them throughout the whole week. Let me share with you guys the 3 recipes I'm going to show you how to make first. First, we're going to be making a keto chicken fried steak, and with the leftover juices from the skillet, we're going to be making an easy keto gravy to go on top of it. Next, I'm going to show you how to make a keto sheet pan meatloaf. This is something that can be prepped up ahead of time and then made the night that you want to have it. And last, I'm going to show you how to make a buffalo chicken enchiladas. Guess what? This one's freezable, so if you don't feel like having it during that week, maybe something else comes up, or you want to freeze it to eat later on in the week, you could do that. Now, I mentioned that if you like to prep up your recipes ahead of time, let me share with you what you could do. So on Sundays, if that's your meal prep day, I would probably make up my buffalo chicken enchiladas and then freeze it to have later on in the week. And then I'd also prep up the ingredients for my sheet pan meatloaf and just have the meatloaf just in a ball wrapped up in the refrigerator to have later in the week. And then that night, if it's Sunday night, I would make up my chicken fried steak. Now, these are all recipes that you could eat throughout the week too. So let's say your calendar would look like this. On Sunday, we're gonna have chicken fried steak. And then Monday, you could have leftovers. So these are all recipes designed for at least 2 people, maybe some 2 small kids in your family too. If you have more than that, I would definitely double the recipe, but you're gonna have leftovers. So Sunday, we're gonna have our chicken fried steak. Monday, you could have leftovers of the chicken fried steak. Tuesday, you could have your sheet pan meatloaf. So it's already pre-made in the refrigerator. All you have to do when you come home at night is lay it on your sheet pan and bake it. And then Wednesday, you could have leftovers as well. Thursday night, we're gonna have our buffalo chicken enchiladas. So you could take them out the night before on Wednesday to thaw out if you froze them, or you could just bake them from frozen. It's just gonna take a little bit longer, probably about a half hour longer to bake. And then Friday, you can have leftover buffalo chicken enchiladas. Now, if you're a person that can't stand leftovers, all these recipes too can be repurposed. So your chicken fried steak, if you have leftover chicken fried steak, just heat it up into the air fryer or the oven the next day. You could have it just like that, like I said, or make it into a chicken fried steak sandwich. So make a couple of chaffles. I've got a great chaffle recipe. I'll have it posted up here. There's a couple down below for a Wonder Bread chaffle, or just use my original chaffle recipe. So you could use that, make a chicken fried steak sandwich. With the meatloaf, there's a couple of different options there too. You could cut up the meatloaf, add it to some palmini noodles or some zucchini noodles, and put a little bit of marinara sauce in there and have a spaghetti. You could also make a sandwich with that too. Your buffalo chicken enchiladas, you can make into a soup. So I would probably just cut up my enchiladas, put it in maybe an Instant Pot or a stock pot, add some broth, some cream cheese, a little bit of vegetables, and now you have a creamy enchilada soup. So those are all different options that you can do if you don't like leftovers during the week. Now, before we get started with all of these delicious keto recipes, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and make sure you hit the notification bell so you get notified every time I post a new recipe. And I also wanted to thank today's sponsor. This is a keto bakery out of Southern California called Loving Heart Treats. The baker, Miriam, has a wide range of different types of keto treats for us. There's a lot of seasonal ones out right now too, with like pumpkin. If you're needing a pumpkin pie for Thanksgiving, really check out her website. I'll have it listed down below for you guys. She is a mom and a doctor and has some delicious keto treats. And let me tell you, this is a great shortcut if you like to incorporate a little bit of treats into your diet, but don't really have time to make them, or you're not the best baker. Really go this route and help support her. The first recipe that we're going to be making is keto chicken fried steak. Now, to make chicken fried steak, it actually is steak, not chicken. If you made it with chicken, it'd be chicken fried chicken. So the steak that we're going to be using is cube steak, and what that is it's just tenderized pieces of steak. The great thing about using cube steak when you're making chicken fried steak is that it cooks up really fast in the skillet, plus it's tender too. To get started, we're going to season both sides of our cube steak with salt and pepper. And then I have 3 bowls here. The first bowl has almond flour in it. The second bowl has 2 eggs with a little bit of water. And the third bowl is a mixture of pork panko and garlic powder. We're going to dip our cube steak into each of these. First in the almond flour, then it dips into the egg wash, and then a final coating with the pork panko. Repeat that with all of your cube steak. Then we're going to take this over to a skillet and we're going to throw in a couple tablespoons of butter. Lay down a few slices of your crusted cube steak. Don't overcrowd your skillet because they're actually going to steam instead of get nice and crispy. So I recommend only adding around like 2 or 3 slices of the steak. You want to fry them on both sides for around 3 to 5 minutes. After it's done cooking, remove it from your skillet, and now we're going to make an easy keto gravy. Now our pan has all these delicious brown bits in it. You want to leave those in there along with any leftover grease that you might have. And we're going to add 1/2 cup of heavy whipping cream, whisk that in along with 1/2 or 1 cup of chicken broth. And it just depends on how much you want to make here. So if you're going with a lot of gravy, then add more chicken broth. Then we're going to let this simmer until it starts to thicken. If you really like thick gravy, then maybe add like 1/2 teaspoon or a teaspoon of arrowroot powder. Arrowroot powder does have some carbs in it, but we're only adding a tiny amount for an entire batch of gravy. So it's a great thickener to use on the keto diet. Then dinner's ready. You can serve it with a side of green beans and maybe some instant frozen mashed cauliflower that you find in your freezer section, and just pour that delicious gravy all over your crispy chicken fried steak. Up next, we're making sheet pan meatloaf. Now, the benefit of making your meatloaf in a sheet pan is that it cooks faster. So most meatloafs, if you put them in the loaf pan, they're gonna take around 45, 50, 60 minutes to cook. If you lay it flat in a thin layer and bake it on a sheet pan, it takes half that time. I'm gonna use 1.5 pounds of ground beef and 1.5 pounds of ground pork. 2 cloves of minced garlic, or you can use garlic paste. That's my shortcut that I like to make. I just get it from the grocery store. 1/4 cup of grated onion. The onion in meatloaf really helps to provide moisture so your meatloaf doesn't dry out. 1/4 cup of unsweetened ketchup. 1 cup of ground pork rinds. I'll have my favorite listed down below. I get them from Amazon. It's called pork panko. 1/3 cup of grated Parmesan cheese. 1/2 cup of heavy whipping cream. 2 eggs, 1/4 cup of chopped parsley, 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. You'll also need to season it with 1 teaspoon of salt and 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. Now you can use your bare hands if you want, but I'm gonna use some gloves this time, and we're gonna mix that together until it's combined. Now, if you're not making this meatloaf right away, just cover it with plastic wrap and put it in the refrigerator to when you do wanna make it later on in the week. But if you're gonna make it tonight because it's only a 30-minute meal, well then you're just gonna layer it down on a parchment-lined baking tray. Next, we're gonna make a little special sauce to go on our meatloaf. This is optional, but it makes it extra delicious. In a small bowl, we're gonna add 1/2 cup of tomato sauce, 1/4 cup of unsweetened ketchup, 1 tablespoon of golden monk fruit sweetener. The brand I like to use is Lakanto. I'll have a link down below on where you can purchase it. Plus you get a discount if you use my link. 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, and 1 teaspoon of chili powder. Whisk that together and then brush that all over your meatloaf. We're gonna bake this in a 375-degree oven for 20 minutes. Now, when it comes out of the oven, it's not gonna look very appealing, so we wanna broil it to help kind of just get it all nice and golden and bubbly on top. So move it up to the broiler section of your oven and broil it on high for 3 to 4 minutes. After it's done, you can cut these up into slices. It makes around like 12 to 15 slices of meatloaf, which is either 1 portion or 2 portion, however you want to look at it. And then serve it along with your favorite keto vegetables. This recipe is also freezer safe. If you wanted to stop at the portion where you've mixed it up, you could wrap it in a ball stored flat in a Ziploc bag and put it in the freezer to have later. The last recipe that we're gonna make is our keto buffalo chicken enchiladas. Now, I'm no stranger to enchiladas. I have a lot of different recipes on my website, so make sure you click down below to have some of my basic enchilada recipes. But this is a fun twist, especially if you like buffalo sauce and you like enchiladas. It combines the two together. It makes a creamy buffalo chicken sauce. It's delicious. So this recipe starts in a skillet. We're gonna add a couple tablespoons of butter, and then I'm gonna be using pre-cooked chicken. And this is a great shortcut. So if you have any leftover chicken that maybe you had made up in an Instant Pot and frozen, I'll have a recipe linked down below for easy shredded chicken that you can make up in your Instant Pot. Or maybe you went to the grocery store and picked up a rotisserie chicken, then you bring it home, shred it up, and you can make it in this recipe. So to that skillet, we're adding in 2 cups of pre-cooked chicken. Now, if you didn't have the pre-cooked chicken too, you could just use regular raw chicken, just dice it up and cook it in the skillet. It's just gonna take a little bit longer to make this recipe. We're also gonna add in 1/2 cup of buffalo sauce. Heat that up over medium-high heat until the sauce bubbles. And then we're gonna kill the heat and add our remaining ingredients. You're gonna need 1/2 teaspoon of lemon juice, 1/4 cup of sour cream, and 4 ounces of cream cheese. Mix it together until the mixture is creamy and smooth. Next, I'm gonna make a buttery buffalo sauce to pour on the bottom and on the top of my enchiladas. So to a small bowl, I have 1/2 cup of buffalo sauce. I'm gonna add in 3 tablespoons of water and 2 tablespoons of melted butter. And now it's time to assemble our enchiladas. So I'm gonna pour a little bit of that sauce down on the bottom. And then to make our enchiladas, the tortillas that I'm gonna be using are my protein tortillas, which is a slice of deli meat. So I'm using deli chicken meat. It's pre-sliced up that you find it at your deli counter. Just a thin slice of meat is all we're using here. I like using these just because it limits the amount of carbs that I'm adding to the meal and it increases the protein. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. If you want to use some low carb tortillas, certainly do that. Mission brand makes a low carb tortilla. It does have gluten in it. I'll have another one listed down below for you from Julienne Bakery that is gluten-free. You could use cabbage leaves if you wanted. There's lots of different options here, but I like to use the sliced deli meat. And you could use turkey or ham too. That works. People have done that before and it works just fine. But just add a little bit of your creamy buffalo chicken mixture into the slice, to the deli slice, roll it up and place it on your pan. And continue that until your pan is filled up with enchiladas. Then we're gonna pour the remaining of that buffalo sauce on top, sprinkle it with cheese, top it with a little bit of crumbled blue cheese. Then it's gonna go into the oven. We're gonna bake it at 400 degrees for around 12 minutes. Like I said before, this recipe is freezable. So before you bake it, after everything's assembled, if you wanted to put it in the freezer, just wrap it with some plastic wrap, maybe some tin foil, pop it in your freezer. It stays good for up to a month. When you go to bake it, you could take it out the night before and let it thaw and just bake as instructed. Or you could also bake it from frozen too. It's just probably gonna take another half hour to bake or so. All right, so those are our 3 easy keto dinner recipes that can all be made in under 30 minutes. And like I said, the best part about these is that your dinner is made through the whole week. If you wanted to prep it all up on Sunday or whatever your meal prep day is, then dinner's taken care of for the rest of the week. Make sure you guys like this video and subscribe to my channel if you want to get more recipes, and make sure you hit the notification bell so you get notified when those recipes come out too. Have a good one. Bye.